welcome everybody. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. We'll go ahead and get started. This is our second new members orientation, so we're excited to have you guys join us today. I'm gonna start off by introducing who we are. So my name is Gwen Hill, and I am Senior Vice President Exhibit Force, and I'm also the Membership Committee Co-Chair. And my partner in crime is Ann Parsons, who is also co-hosting with me today. Ann, if you'd like to say a few words, feel free.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining the Exhibitor Advocate. The more the merrier for sure. The more input and feedback we can get from those of us in this crazy industry to help each other and support each other, the better. So thank you.
Yes, well said. So as we go through this, I would also like to take a moment, as some of you may already know, Jessica Sevilla, and she is our executive director. Jessica, if you'd like to say hi for a quick moment.
Yeah, hi everybody. Just want to echo Gwen and Ann's comments here. We're so thrilled to have you as members and really excited to share with you more about the Exhibitor Advocate and hear from you as well about how we best support you. So thanks for taking the time and really looking forward to the conversation today.
And so we also just wanted to start off by introducing also the structure of the organization, the council. Obviously, Jessica is our one staff member to date. We also have 8 board of directors. And then as you can also see, advocate council, we have 12 on that. And then as I go through this is an introduction of our board of directors. So some of you may be familiar with these folks. I would highly recommend, if you're not already linked in with them, to do so. And I believe after today's call, I know, Jessica, we are recording this today. I have been asked if we would also be sharing the actual deck afterwards. So we may follow up with that information afterwards. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. It looks like we do have some folks that are not on mute. So if you don't mind just muting,
no problem.
We make it available to you so that you can talk. But in this part, we'll just ask you to mute for a moment.
Yes, thanks. So again, more of our board of directors. If you know them, great. If you don't, I highly recommend reaching out to them via LinkedIn, connect with them to learn more. So who we are and our mission, and for those of you that may have met us out at Exhibitor Live, you may have heard some of this, but of course the Exhibitor Advocate is the only nonprofit association who is completely dedicated to the trade show exhibitors' success. So as you can see here, our goal in the work empowers the exhibitors to achieve maximum value from the trade show proposition and participation, but also the bigger part of it, at least from my perspective, is that amplifying their collective voice. Personally, I like to say when we come together like this as an industry, we truly can move mountains. And I am a firm believer in that and always have been. Our mission, of course, is to secure, the industry for the future of the exhibitors, the exhibition industry, by promoting fair and transparent standards, of course, open communication, and consistent best practices. So those are some of the things that, why we matter, if you will. And, we're your eyes on the industry, providing data-driven insights to, the members, the advocates, and that sort. And just to, again, reiterate, we're changing the business, that we're all in it. And I truly believe that, most love this so much. I always say, when you're in the industry, you're either in it or within just a few months, you'll know it's not for you. So, 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 if you're past that 3 month mark, guess what? You're suckered in, it's in your blood, and it just keeps evolving from there. So, Jessica, anything you'd like to add to this statement?
No, you did a perfect job. Love it.
Okay. Um, Benefits of membership, really the direct line, as it says there, to the advocate board for guidance. So all of those folks that I had up on my screen a moment ago, the board of folks that are on there, the amount of experience they bring together from all aspects of the industry is just, huge. It's literally, you know, show organizers, you've got labor companies, you have exhibit house companies, you have exhibitors, corporate exhibitors, big brands, small brands, healthcare, every industry, just all of the above. So again, to bring all of that together, to have advice and ideas and how we can continue to build this community, if you will. Access to, of course, content. We're always looking to share more content. I don't know, last month we had the, what is that? The employer rate surveys. And I know I'm not saying that correctly, but I know that it was, the rate survey is a huge deal simply because it's showing the rates across the country. So you can do comparatives year over year as well. So access to that, but also to key webinars. I know in a couple of slides in just a moment, I will share with you, AI. I know doing a webinar about that and some other things in the upcoming months. Content, so that's one thing, education's another, but also networking, opportunities for everybody to come together. And again, we were just at Exhibitor Live last month. I know there's quite a few folks that's going to be at EMS next week, the Experiential Marketing Summit in Vegas. So that's also taking place Monday through Wednesday of next week. So I know a lot of us will be there, and hopefully we can connect there as well. But also mainly to support our industry, industry-wide advocacy on behalf of all exhibitors. So when we go to these events, and we have issues, who do we report that to? How do we get a resolution or get the support? That's what we're here for. At some point, we would love to say that we have a hotline for the exhibitors to, contact us. But for now, you can actually do that right on our website. And I'll show you a bit more about that in just a moment. As future members, also know that the membership will always be free. We do have add-on bonuses for the, additional like education segments of it, and we'll highlight which ones are part of the membership. For just $2.99 per year, we do have, like I said, additional educational segments, additional webinars and things that are being provided. But another key element to this is that you would also be, have the option to vote. Members would be able to then vote annually, beginning in August for like new board members and, related organizational matters on that note. Again, Jessica, anything that you would like to add on that?
Yeah, I'll just add a few things. I think one of the things that makes us so valuable to you as members is that, as Gwen said, we do have members from all different stakeholder groups in this industry, and we welcome members from all stakeholder groups because we can only get better when we do this work together. So if you have a challenge related to a union or a general service contractor or some type of supplier, we have the resources that we can go to get the insider information on how to navigate those challenges and help guide you with one-on-one advice for how to find a resolution to your challenge. So we offer that advice and that guidance to you as part of being a member. We also provide you with education and resources that are going to help you be better and more successful in this industry. So the 2024 annual survey of exhibition rates is available right now. It is $249 for that report. But what it gives you is the ability to budget and plan for all of your labor and material costs for the rest of this year. You'll be able to see what the averages were in labor and materials across 23 cities in 2024. So if your show moves from city to city, you can anticipate what your increases might be this year based on the differences from the previous year. So there's lots of research like this that we're providing to you. And then the other thing is we're also providing you with alerts and advisories on what's happening in the industry. So, for example, Freeman has been charging an on-off power service fee at the Las Vegas Convention Center, and some exhibitors have been charged that fee while also paying for 24-hour power. So, for our members, we're working on communication to let you know that if you've been charged for both of those things, you've been double charged. And we have worked with Freeman to set up a process to have you get resolution to that overcharge. So these are the types of things that we're doing on your behalf to make sure that you are charged appropriately and that when there is an issue that's pervasive across a show, a venue, or the industry as a whole, we're the ones that are working to make sure we find resolution for you.
Great stuff. And thanks for saying the proper name of the survey.
Yeah, I did put a link to it in the chat as well if you're interested.
Awesome. That's great. So how you can get involved. Obviously the best way, to get good at the most out of your membership is by being involved. Or as I like to say, the excitement is, being in the game, not just sitting on the sidelines. So how you can do that, and as Ann and I are on the membership committee, we have that part up. We would love to have more people to, contribute to the ideas and how we can continue again to grow this community. We also have other options. So if you are more of the social media bug and you've got, things that you would like to contribute there, or education, communications, copywriting, obviously, and then fundraising and sponsorship activations, again, all things that, whatever your talents might bring, we would love your contribution on that note. Feel free to reach out to any of us if there's an interest on that. And also at the end of today's webinar, I'll have more info on how to contact us as well. And I also believe everybody on this call has our emails, myself, Ann, and Jessica. So again, feel free to let us know if you're interested in learning more about those different committees, and then we can connect you to their chairs. Also, just sharing the word, telling your peers, your coworkers, your clients, your LinkedIn connections. I truly believe that, LinkedIn, our community there is, quite large, but again, everybody that's in our industry needs to know about this, simply because if they do run into, an issue, or just like what Jessica was talking about with the, double charge, things that they may not know that this, organization can help them with. So by spreading the word, that will help, obviously. And then another thing that we ask is that you send us the exhibitor and show kits, simply because we use this information as, again, comparing data year over year, show over show, region over region, to gain insight into the changes. And so we also, again, have a way to do that. You can submit that right online through the website, or if you want to tell your story and that again is taking you right out to the website. There is a form that asks you all the specific questions, on how we can help you. So if you have a story to share or need help or just want some insight to whatever the case may be, just feel free to access that right through our website.
And I'm going to make an offer that I made last year. If you send us 3 show kits from your shows, we need the PDF version of all of your labor and material rates for your show, which sometimes takes something to get a PDF or a screenshot of the show kit if it's only online. But if you send us 3 kits, I will give you the rate survey for free. So we are looking for kits from all of 2025. It's easier to pull it down when you're in the middle of a show. So if you have a show this quarter, or maybe you just finished one up, download the PDF of that show kit, send it to us, and we'll make sure that you get the 2025 rate survey for free. Or if you prefer to have last year's rate survey, I'll give you that one.
Great. Thanks for that. Also, just as a reminder, we have some upcoming engagements. As I mentioned a moment ago, EMS is this coming week in Vegas. I'll be flying out on Monday, so hopefully we'll see you there. EDPA is hosting a happy hour on Tuesday. Again, this is all listed right here. RSVP is required. The cool thing is that they'll be actually on at the ice hockey arena, so that'll be kind of cool to check that out. I do know that Jessica mentioned that there's a group that would be there for that as well. So just so you know, specifically, that's kind of the networking event, if you will, for the Exhibitor Advocate Council to be at the EDPA happy hour while attending EMS. So again, information there and also how to register. The upcoming webinars that I mentioned, the one on April 29th there you can see is a free webinar using the sustainability RFP tool. And again, you can register. And then on May 8th, that's the AI webinar that I had mentioned a moment ago as well for events and how to use it. That one's $59, or if you're doing the educational access that I mentioned, that would be part of that and included. And then in June, we have Global Exhibitions Day coming up as well. And we will continue to add to this calendar, obviously, as we have more things. And even for my own clarity, Jessica, is the calendar like this, is this on our website? I don't even know that.
So I believe that some of these events are on our current website. We are rolling out the new website with the membership portal next week. And so you will see a new interface next week that will have a calendar with all of these events listed. I will also tell you that the April 29th webinar is most likely going to be pushed out into May. So if you're interested in how to use our sustainability RFP tool, it is a tool that will help you incorporate questions and contract language into your RFPs. Do go ahead and register for the April 29th session. I don't have the set date yet for May, but we will make sure that once you register, we let you know about the new date and roll over your registration to that date. So hopefully it'll be at a time that works for you, but feel free to register even though we know that date's going to move.
Okay, great. I'm curious, and if y'all don't mind, just maybe in the chat, let us know. I'm curious to know how many is planning to be at EMS this coming week in Vegas. So if you don't mind, just put that in the chat. Let's see. Also, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors and partners who obviously make all of this possible. Again, that committee where we have sponsor activations, this, is something that you could be contributing to as well. So let us know if you have interest in that. But, without them, we wouldn't be where we are today. And we would love to continue to expand, obviously, our sponsors and partners. Again, if you see these companies on LinkedIn or wherever, recommend connecting out to them as well. This is also part of the information that, again, if you're sharing with your peers, your colleagues, this is info for you to share as well. And or if you have, questions or want to join the LinkedIn group, all of those different things, this is how you could do that. And typically I would wrap it up here, but I do have one other little thing I want to touch on. So usually when we get to this point, we ask for Q&A, but we actually have questions for you guys. And I'm assuming, Jessica, I just want to make sure with you, it's okay if they come off mute if people wish to, comment, answer questions.
Yeah, I mean,
We
we
would
would love
invite you to.
to, yeah, we'd love to answer your questions first.
Yep.
So if there's anyone that wants to know more, if we didn't address something, what questions do you have for us?
And don't forget to take yourself off mute.
That's right.
Okay.
If
That's
something pops up, yep, let us know. And then in the meantime, yeah, we do have questions for you, making sure that we're providing you with the most impactful resources and information that makes your membership beneficial is what we're after. So we'd love
right.
to know from anybody what you're hoping to get from the exhibitor advocate.
I have one question that comes up a lot about how prices are going to go up due to tariffs. And I don't know if that's going to affect anything here, but it could. And it's kind of an issue when we're trying to think about next year's budgets.
Yeah.
Our exhibit house is already telling us that prices are going to go up. So
yeah, it is absolutely going to affect our industry. We're already seeing some effects. What we believe is probably going to happen is that material costs will go up. So, depending on your specific situation, you may see that if you're trying to build new booth materials, particularly think around aluminum tariffs. If you have aluminum frames with pillowcase graphics, if your resource for those frames doesn't have inventory of the aluminum right now, you can expect that pricing will go up for those types of things because of the tariffs. Unfortunately, we don't have a good sense of how much inventory is domestically available right now. So we're not 100% sure what is going to happen with those prices. And as we saw today, the unexpected changes from our federal government is having an effect on that as well. So not knowing whether or not these tariffs will stick, it's hard to know what's coming. I think that if you have the opportunity to hold off on purchases, to wait and see how things level out, that might be a good choice. But you also may want to purchase right now if inventory is available and pricing is still at the levels that you're expecting. It's not a great, easy answer, unfortunately.
it would be nice if you guys could, help keep on top of it so we can balance what our exhibit houses are telling us with what you're seeing.
Yep. Yes, we do have a blog on tariffs right now on our website. It gives you some ideas for if tariffs are going to increase your pricing, where you might want to source other things locally or domestically in order to avoid any sort of tariffs that would be applied to your materials. The biggest issue I think you're going to find is on promotional products. So, lanyards, giveaways, things like that are going to be all coming from China. Unfortunately, there's not a lot that's made here. So, thinking about promotional items differently, thinking about ways that you could source things locally, giveaways, food giveaways, bakery, cookies, things like that, or maybe buying local little potted plants or flowers or things like that to give away. Ideas like that will save you money in the long run because you're not going to be affected by tariffs from materials coming in overseas. So check out that blog. It is on our website right now. And yes, we will absolutely keep our eye on it and help you plan for and budget for those fees as they come through.
I'm putting a link to that blog in the chat.
Great.
Oh, great.
And then I also put some links to the webinars that for the AI for events, the sustainability RFP tool webinar. So you guys can quickly click on those. And then there was a survey that came out recently about AI and event management. And I put a link to that as well, because I'm sure we'd love to get as much feedback from y'all for that webinar coming up.
Great idea.
I also see a question here from Amanda on developing RFPs in terms of structure and best practices. I'm assuming, Amanda, we're talking about booth build. We don't currently have kind of an RFP tool related to general booth build, although I love the idea, and so we'll take that into consideration. What you will see from us in the next couple of weeks is an RFP tool related to booth build when you're looking for sustainable options. So you may be able to extract what you need from that RFP process. It will give you the questions to ask in your RFP related to booth build and sustainability. And then it will also give you contract language to input into a final contract related to that question in particular. So, I will make a note and we'll try to make sure that you get that RFP tool. It will be free to all members. And like I said, I anticipate that it will be posted in the next 2 weeks. I would love your feedback, Amanda. If you look at it and it doesn't give you what you want, please email me. My email's in the chat here and let me know how we can better serve you when it comes to those RFPs.
And I also saw that we have another question about, can we provide the brief background on how and why the Advocate Council was started?
Great point. Kristen, we will absolutely include that moving forward. Sometimes when you're so close to things, you forget what's new. The Exhibitor Advocate started because there was a group of us that had been meeting regularly since TSEA dissolved in 2012. TSEA was the Trade Show Exhibitors Association. There was a group of us that had been on the board of TSEA and the Advocate Council of TSEA. And when that organization dissolved, we kept meeting on a monthly basis, talking about issues in the industry, sharing resources with each other, and generally helping each other out over the course of 10 years. Kudos to Dominique Cook, who actually kept that group going over those 10 years. That was a very difficult task and herding cats. And she did a great job of keeping us going. So when COVID happened, it was like a little support group for everybody. And we were having a conversation, realizing that when we came back from COVID, whatever that looked like, that stakeholders in the industry were potentially going to try to recoup revenue that they had lost over COVID. And what we knew was that that revenue would be extracted from the exhibitors. And we didn't have a seat at the table. We didn't have a voice. And so our group decided that now was the time to incorporate an association again so that we could voice our concerns as a collective community and ensure that exhibitors were not taken advantage of. And if you saw the 2023 annual survey of exhibition rates, you'll see that material handling rates increased 18 to 30% in 2023. So our expectations were accurate, and we now have a collective voice that we can leverage to help this industry right size the pricing for exhibitors and ensure that we are being heard, we are being seen as the critical stakeholders in this industry, and that we can voice the concerns of exhibitors and make sure that we're adhering to best practices and extracting the most value from our trade show experiences. Jose,
Well said.
you've got your hand up. You want to come off mute? Oh, there you go.
Yes, there you go. Sorry, I moving my mouse all the way to the other side took a little while.
I get it. I get it.
Just to go backtrack a little bit on the RFPs, do you guys have like a resource where you get RFPs to kind of pass on to members at all, or is there something that
No.
exists related to that at all, or is just the assistance with the RFP?
No, it would just be the assistance with how to ask the question. And in this case, particularly around sustainability. But going through the process of RFPs, we don't have any sort of process for helping you manage that.
Got
But
it. And do you guys have a or maybe even a suggestion on a particular organization that may offer a list of RFPs that are happening? Because I'm getting a lot of emails of people who are selling like a membership, maybe $5,000, $6,000, then they promise to provide you with RFPs that are happening. And I'm just wondering if you guys like, what is your experience with that, if any, and what would you suggest we do moving forward? Because again, we don't want to invest into something that just doesn't make any sense to do so.
Yeah, help me understand a little bit of the background on your question. Are you on the supplier side or the exhibitor side?
We're on the supplier side.
Got it.
So we're looking at RFPs to be able to, bid on an RFP for a particular company.
Yeah.
And what,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, I'm sorry. Nope, go ahead.
So we don't have any communication or support to our exhibitor members around what process they use to provide those RFPs. So unfortunately, I don't have any recommendations for you. I would tell you, and maybe Gwen and Anne, you guys can speak to this better. EDPA, which is the Exhibit Designers and Producers Association, might have a little bit more of resources or support for you because they're on the supplier side.
Got it.
right. And I've actually been a part of a committee where we did work to create like a RFP process and different things like that. But more than happy to see, what's going on with that since I've been on that board in the past.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know of any, besides like a .gov, like a government website where they have to list when they have projects that are going out for bid in this industry. I mean, in my experience, the only way you get an RFP is if you know someone.
Right. Right.
And if you get a list of RFPs, then, they're just asking 10, 15 companies to respond, and it's a waste of time. But if you find out that service, let me know. I
Absolutely. Well, that's high on
We
my
all want
list
that
right
list.
now.
Yeah,
It's on my list. If I find out anything, I'll be sure to pass it along for
thank
sure.
you.
That's the beauty of this community, right? Is that
Right.
this is suppliers and exhibitors working together. So, for the exhibitors on the call, do you guys have any recommendations for Jose? When you send out an RFP, how are you sending it out? Do you send it out through a service, or do you send it out to exhibit houses that you know of? We're putting you on the spot.
I can drop.
I can
Who
fill
else is
in.
in the room that has their sound on? Tell them to
I
mute.
I can fill in until Amanda can get her stuff sorted. I haven't done one in a few years, but when we did a booth rebuild, I did the research on houses myself, brought it down to a short list, and then sent the RFPs out myself. Nowadays, our company has a very rigorous purchasing process. We have managers that do this for us. We have technology reviews, but we wouldn't use a platform. It would all be internal.
Yeah, sorry about that. Still echoing. Sorry, one second.
Thank you for that.
Amanda's going to put
Okay, I
her.
think we figured it out.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so we're on the client side and we're looking for vendors. We just attended Exhibitor Live for that reason, to, make those connections and then create a list of who we wanted to include. But I've just found there's not a lot of information out there in terms of like how to best structure your RFP, the questions to ask, how to best represent your company and your business case. Is it better to put it all in a PowerPoint? Is it a PDF? Like I didn't find a lot of information on that. And I really was hoping that there would be a class about it at Exhibitor Live too. And that's feedback that I gave them because I just found that there's just not a lot of information out there. I found a couple good examples online to kind of go off of, but I just wanted to see if there was something out there that existed to where, we're putting our best foot forward to the vendors as well and making it an easy process for them and making sure it's not too long and asking too many questions and what's their preference. So, but yeah, that's been our process. It's just, word of mouth and making those connections and deciding who we want to include.
So, Amanda, I can speak to that a little bit as someone who's on the supplier side and who's seen all kinds of RFPs come through. If you don't want to get a hold of me outside of this call, I'm happy to share templates that I think are better than others. Because the bottom line is you need to be able to compare apples to apples at the end of the day. And if your RFP isn't structured such that the information you get back from the bidders isn't comparable, then, I can't imagine, how you would decipher one from the other. So I'm happy to share with you some of the better ones I've seen.
And also on that note, so that's Amanda, that's actually where for the EDPA, what my role was to almost essentially create RFP templates. So based on what Ann just said, taking the best of the best, everybody gave their input from the supplier side. So I do actually have, and I've got some notes here to touch base with Jessica. Maybe we could do just a whole little segment on that. Because I agree. If you're not getting the right information, not asking, the right questions in the right way, as Ann was saying, you're going to get a bunch of it's not going to rate well.
You've heard it here first. There will be an RFP discussion forum sometime in June.
I got you.
That's a great idea.
I've already signed up. I'm already signed up
I love
for sure.
I love it. See, again, this is what happens when we talk to each other about these things. It's great. So just getting the feedback, Amanda, now you've manifested the discussion forum. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm actually, if it's okay, I'm putting my email address in the chat because I'd love to stay in touch with all you guys and continue this conversation and see what resources we can share with one another. So
yeah, love it.
That'd be great.
Any other questions that you guys have for us, and then we'll ask you a few more here. All right. I would like to personally know from you how much communication is too much. We send out a monthly newsletter. It's my mission in life not to spam you. I do not allow us to send you communications from our sponsors with general ads or things that they want to promote. I really work hard to make sure that when we send you an email, it actually matters so that you can count on the fact that when you open that email, it's going to be about industry news you need to know, things that are happening for the exhibitor advocate that you might want to participate in, or a survey where you're providing us with information that we will put into a format and send back to you in terms of industry information. How often can I send you an email? And is that the best way to communicate? Would love to hear from you guys.
Seems like once a month is the going rate.
Once a month. Love it.
Yeah.
Once a month is perfect. Great. Good. Thank you. It's incredibly good feedback for us. I will apologize in advance that from April 16th through the 25th. You might get quite a few emails from us, but we will be sending out membership information, information on how to log in once we roll out this new membership portal. But I promise you it will be worth it because you'll have access to be able to communicate with each other. You'll have access to resources and all the information that we're sharing out. So we're really excited about this. And we welcome your feedback after those 2 weeks if we're sending out too much information. Carly, you've got your hand up.
Hey, this is Carly. I'm on the exhibitor side. And just to answer the first two questions, what do you hope to get out of this? Would be I would love to see like what's happening and like what's current in smaller booths, like a 10 by 10 and a 10 by 20. As personally in our company, we've had to cut down on our booth size just due to budgets. And it's hard to find like cool, current, exciting things in a smaller space. We see really exciting things that we can't afford in a 40 by 40 and up. So I think that would be one. And then as often, I agree with everyone, a monthly newsletter is perfect.
Great. I love this idea, and I think that we could provide a seminar where we invite our exhibit house partners to give us their best 10 by 10 and 10 by 20 design along with a budget. So let's see from them what they can do with 15,000, 35,000, right? These are small budgets, but how can you get creative? Does that budget you know, referenced the 15 to 35, 50. Does that feel like the right budget range for you guys?
Yeah, we've been seeing honestly anything from like 8 to 30 for
Great.
smaller booths, and also like how can you make a pop-up and a banner stand and a portable counter look cool, or activations that could just jazz up the smaller spaces. Our team is really great at getting creative, and we've, I think, mastered the cost saving side of it. But just as like you're in the weeds of planning your events, it'd be nice to just like scroll through and just like get some new ideas, and some ideas spark other ideas. So that's something I would be looking for.
I love that. Thank you so much. It's a great idea, and we can action on that. Absolutely. So also, first heard it here, there will be a booth design discussion forum or seminar in July.
That's cool.
This is great. Let's see. Are there, this is like right in line with what we're asking here. Any other resources or education that you guys want to see that you don't have right now? There's a lot of information that's available to you, but what don't you have that we could provide?
If I could jump in, I'm on the organizer side, so I work with a lot of exhibitors. So I would love to hear from exhibitors. What are their pain points in dealing with organizers? Is it, lack of information, lack of organization, timeliness, check, like what do they need? What would be like some of their top things that they need from organizers to be successful at their shows?
I will let exhibitors respond, but two things I want to say on this. We have on our website a state of the event industry from the perspective of exhibit marketers. The report is really beneficial for show organizers. And Kristen, what I'll say about this is here's the takeaway. 88% of exhibitors say that cost is their number one issue. And it's not budgeting for cost. It is the flat out cost of show services. So the number one thing that every show organizer can do is look at your exhibitor pricing. When you do an RFP with your general service contractor or whatever supplier you're working with, oftentimes show organizers are focused on the pricing that they are paying for, the cost they're paying for. And we don't often think about how our exhibitors are going to be charged. So we would encourage you to take a look at your exhibitor's pricing in your kit and compare it to the 2024 annual survey of exhibition rates and see where your certain costs are outliers. You may have a lot of them, or you may just have one or two areas where your exhibitors are paying over what is average for that city. Those are the areas that you want to negotiate with your supplier. And then you want to tell your exhibitors that you're negotiating on their behalf. They need to know that you have their back and that you are working on their behalf to make their exhibiting experience more effective, more efficient. And if you really want to go so far, I would tell you to then start up an exhibitor advisory council to start creating that channel for communication. We also have a resource on how to create an exhibitor advisory council. So if you want direct links to those things, maybe Anne can put them in the chat here. Otherwise, feel free to email me and I'll send those to you so that you can start working on that. Happy to chat with you offline further if you want more support.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Great. Yeah.
Hi, Tara Donahue. I just wanted to jump in here. I'm on the exhibiting side of things, customer that is. And I think answering the question about what the associations or the organizations could provide, what we're looking for most is like the real numbers and demographics of attendees. They seem to be convoluted when we ask for them or inflated. And it's really important when we're looking at, if we're going to be attending, if it's worth our investment. And then things like sufficient move-in time, that's been a struggle, like where we're paying an astronomical amount of overtime because we're not given the sufficient days to be able to move in for our ridiculously large booth. But that's another issue. That's a whole different problem on my end. But it still, influences our budget quite a bit. And it's something we have no control over. And it's a pain point for sure, which means that we'll probably be, reducing our space and our presence because we can't afford to get in there and get set up in time. And really, I want to just say, like, what I'm looking to get out of being a part of the exhibitor advocate team and everything is to just be able to have that partnership and empowerment where I haven't had it ever. In the past, it's kind of like we're at the mercy of the organizers and the general show contractors. Almost like it's a privilege for us to, I feel like we were treated like you're lucky you're even here. And it's like, are you kidding? Like, work with us. We're trying our best. I mean, I love events. I've been in it for quite a while. And as you said, like you either love it or hate it, Gwen, but, and pretty quickly, but it is trying when you want to feel like a team and instead you feel like you're competitors, you're working against each other. Like we should all want this industry to thrive, and get back to a better, more reasonable way of working. That's me. That's my 2 cents.
I love that, Tara, because that is literally the foundation that we are built on, that we believe in this industry, we love this industry, and we believe that by working together, we can make it better for everybody. So everybody can make money. Everybody can feel like this is an effective marketing channel. So I appreciate you saying that. And I promise you that that is a foundation that we are built on and will continue to uphold. Brian, you've got your hand up?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for putting this together. I'll echo to what Tara just said there. We're on the organizer side as well, the services side rather. helping exhibitors get their best footing at a show like this. And we run into the same things. I mean, sometimes at certain show halls, we'll know somebody at show services desk, or we'll know exactly the right channels to go through in order to grease the wheels, as it were. But then we come up against stuff all the time that we don't have any say so on whatsoever, and seems rather arbitrary. And that could be things like noise levels. That could be things like if we have a film crew in your booth, can they be in the booth property? Can they be outside? There's a variety of things that vary from show to show to show. And at some level, I know it's the organizers that get to dictate this kind of thing, but it would be great if there was some sort of gold standard that organizations are held to, or at least are able to compare themselves to, so that we have extra ammunition when we go in there and try to argue for our exhibitors' rights. Because I feel you, Tara. Sometimes it really does feel like they are telling the exhibitors that they're just lucky to even be in the room, when in fact they are at least half of the equation as to why that show exists at all. And I'm not sure where they got lost along the way and forgetting that the exhibitors are sort of the reason that the attendees are there in the first place. But it's a kind of a chicken or the egg kind of situation here, where somebody at some point in time has to stand up for their rights. And unfortunately, we see the exhibitors getting pulled the wool over all the time on this. It's not fun.
This is great feedback, you guys. I think it's directly in line with the work that we're working on for you. We are very interested in creating some documentation that will help you navigate the rules and regulations for the major venues in our industry. So having your feedback on this will help us advocate for making that happen. So it's Brian, right? That was chatting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brian, I'd love to maybe chat with you offline a little bit more about that. It'd be really, really helpful.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear
And
you.
actually, you bring up a great point. One of the other similar type of groups that I'm in has its own dedicated Slack channel, which I know nobody wants an additional Slack channel to have to follow. But I've actually found it incredibly informative and interesting to be able to have that space to talk about this stuff. Because a lot of the times, I mean, anybody who's been at a show knows that you find these things out on the fly, and then a million other things happen right in front of you. So you might not have the time to be able to properly document and then follow up on afterwards. Whereas if you could pop this into a collective shared knowledge base and say, I'm at Google Cloud Next right now and I'm seeing this, and then open up a discussion on that, it might lead toward collated data for future initiatives.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. We've been asking our members if Slack is a good channel to use for communicating having these discussions and communicating in this way. Our LinkedIn group is not kind of taking off the way that we had hoped it would for this exact opportunity. So I think we will play with Slack. And if any of you are interested in being guinea pigs on that, we'd love to chat with you. So Brian, I've got your name down now. So we may be chatting about a lot more.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. All right. Any other questions or feedback? I'm trying to cover everything in the chat. Let's see.
If you do have feedback or ideas that you don't want to share openly on this group, we welcome your feedback anytime. So please feel free to email me. Again, you've got my email in the chat there, but I am very interested in how we can best support you. And we will continue to build out these resources and opportunities for you. So knowing what's most impactful will help us build those things that are going to help you.
Great. All right. Well, thanks everyone. I also added my email in there as well. I know many of you I already have, but yes, feel free to contact us directly. And again, we will be offering more of these, even though they are membership orientations. If you wish to participate in the future, again, just let us know. We'll make sure to continue to add that to the list, because these conversations obviously evolve. So for our second one, I love it. Can't wait to continue. Oh, one other question. Will we share the notes in the deck?
Yes, we
Yes.
can do that. We did record the session as well, so if you want to go back and watch the session, we will post that on our YouTube channel, and you can link to it from our website from the same resources page as everything else.
Perfect. All right. Well, everyone have a wonderful day, and look forward to working with you guys in the near future.
Great. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks.